As a volunteer, it's just an incredible group of people to work with. You're incredibly supported, and I couldn't recommend it enough.
Shralik here for Franklin Matters, Franklin Public Radio, available anywhere, anytime on the internet. Yes, in your browser, WFPR.FM, or in that local Franklin, Mass. FM radio dial, 102.9. Yeah, the dial, or maybe the push buttons and knobs. You can preset it at 102.9 and always have it ready for you. Here today in the glorious Franklin Food Pantry for a conversation about volunteering from volunteers themselves. Ordinary people doing ordinary things for a great cause. So we'll go around and we'll do some introductions, and then we'll just let the conversation evolve. And you want to go first, Donna?
Sure. I'm Donna O'Neill. I joined the food pantry in 2013 because my friend Roberta Trahan, who's at my right, introduced the thought to me after my husband passed, and I've been here ever since. I love it. I think it's an honor, and that's how it all began for me.
So it's all Roberta's fault.
It is indeed. I tell her that
among
frequently.
many other things that I have caused.
She didn't like me staying at home after my husband died, and she didn't give me a full year at all.
Oh.
And so that's how it all really did begin.
Sure.
In fact, she told me in no uncertain terms that she had set up an interview for me. Yeah.
She greased the skids.
That same day. So I came down and I never left.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to have you. I know I've seen you at a few of our other meetings,
Yes,
etc.
we belong to committees together.
You have a lot of stories, so hopefully we'll get at least one today.
Yeah.
Roberta, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Roberta Trahan. I'm a lifelong resident of Franklin, and I also serve on the Food Pantry Board at the present time. I really have always had the food pantry in my mind from way back when. It was at what is now the Historical Museum in the basement, which moved to the property on Rockland Trust, and now in this glorious, as you described it, building.
Yes.
And one time I was approached by a former board member and actually the now director, Tina Powderly, and also former board member about whether I'd like to join.
Right.
I gave it some consideration. At the time I was still working full-time, but I came on board, and like Donna, I have never left. There's just so much that goes on here, and I'm humbled by it because I feel as though my job on the board is very different than the ones that are actually out there doing the work, the stocking, meeting the clients, and doing all of that.
Right.
But I'm honored to be part of this group as well.
Thank you. And Sally.
Hi, I'm Sally Grant. I'm a newer resident of Franklin, about 7 years, and was looking for an opportunity to be able to give back to my community. And like Roberta, the food pantry has always been kind of present in my mind, and thought that might be a nice fit. And so I did the volunteer orientation and started working here. I work in a variety of roles, and I haven't left either. I find that it's a very valuable experience.
Definitely, thank you. And Kim.
Hi, I'm Kim DeCrescenzo. I had lived in Franklin from 1996 on, and actually moved back to Rhode Island about a year ago. I started at the pantry when my kids were in school, and I had a little time midday, so I started stocking and what have you. I think I had a friend who volunteered, and I just thought it was a great cause and did that for a few years. Life got busy, and then came back actually right before COVID. And I haven't left. So I work at the front desk with our clients, and I just find it an amazing place to be. The volunteers, the clients, the employees are all equally as amazing, which is what brings me continuing to volunteer and make the long trek back from Rhode Island several times a month. So I'm happy to be here.
Good, thank you. And Carol.
I'm Carol Malachowski. I've been a resident of Franklin for 23 years. The idea of volunteering in a food pantry actually probably came many years ago. I'm a retired school teacher, and when my dad retired from his job, he became involved in volunteering at the food pantry in the town that I grew up in Norwood. And I saw that when he went to the food pantry, he just came back home feeling like he had a real purpose, and he made a lot of new friends. And he did it for years. So I think that the idea of me wanting to do it stemmed from seeing how I saw that it made a big difference in his life. So when I did retire, I signed up to volunteer here back in March of 2022. And I have never felt the need to want to leave. I started with whatever job was open, and I'm still doing those same two tasks, and have learned a few others, which I'm glad that I've been able to kind of diversify. And I've met, I just see the dedication from the top down, just the people that work here, and it's just valuable work, and I enjoy it.
Good, thank you. Yes, I think in the recent annual report, the 2025 edition, which is now out there, it referenced over 600 total volunteers involved in operating the place, and so it's 150 a week that are required to just operate the pantry, in addition to, obviously, the staff, which is limited because of the nature of the business. It's a nonprofit. You can't afford, you're mindful about what you've got. So yes, the volunteer work, 600 people overall, 150 on a regular week. And your job, role, which I'm sure varies, you make a lot of phone calls.
Thank you. I do. I wear a number of hats, as Sally mentioned. Part of that is what you're referring to, which is we do have a shut-in population. And it became very obvious during COVID and since then that we needed to do something about them. So it's a personal phone call. It's a personal, almost like a health check, in the sense that we do care so much how they're feeling, particularly after a week like this. And they get a menu read to them, and they choose what they would like. The menu involves all the products that we have, as if they had come into the store.
So it mimics that shopping
type
operation.
As close as we're able, because we do have people carrying those boxes and bags to them.
Right.
It's a very rewarding part of what I do here. The other parts are just packing bags for the kids. It's called the kids' bags. And once a month we have a food pantry that's mobile that goes to the senior center.
Correct.
And I'm part of that, and that is for not only clients that we have, but we try to get clients that could use us more often to come as well.
Right. Yeah, the senior center I know is from an opportunity. I'm usually there coincidentally either just before or just after the food pantry delivery, and there's not much left usually.
No.
But there are a lot of happy faces.
But we would love to see them come and become registered here if they're able. It's been opened up to other towns to come on Tuesday through the drive-through.
Correct.
And I understand that from being able to introduce that thought to them, they do come. Several have joined.
Yeah, there's been
the pantry through
a gradual increase in numbers from what I've seen. Yes.
Correct, yeah.
And your role amongst, certainly on the board, is one piece, but you may do other things as well.
So what's interesting to me is when I look out and see all the different jobs that people do, again, I am in awe because I know it represents a lot of hours, and many people do many different things. One of the things I do, along with Donna, on that second Wednesday of the month is the mobile pantry at the senior center. And that's been a very interesting experience for me, because what I find is that people who might not, as Donna suggested, feel comfortable coming here or saying that they need to come here, see us there. It's a very non-threatening, low-key situation, and I think we have signed up some clients as a result
Right.
of that.
Right.
I have to say I chuckle a little bit because it's funny watching them go through the different things that they like, or no, I don't like that, but oh yes, I'll take that. And it's just kind of interesting to me. I chuckle about it. And we are able to offer them quite a bit. There's at least 2 proteins, there's fresh vegetables, there's the staples, packaged goods, desserts, rolls, and croissants and things, which they go crazy over. And I've also added, as my role as a former critical care nurse, I am there to do their blood pressures should they want it.
Right.
Last month I was there. Not too many people came forward, but that partly to me is they have to get used to it, number one. And number two, I do find most people are very well connected for the most part, either to their physicians or wherever they go for their health care. But I'm there if they need it, if
Sure.
they're having an off day and they want to check their blood pressure, that's
Right.
what I'm there for.
Right.
In addition to the senior center staff who also does blood pressures and checks with them. And I think that speaks to the issue of how well connected Sarah, Amaro, and the staff have become with these people at the senior center. They feel very comfortable there.
Yeah,
So, right.
for the Franklin residents who, at least if they didn't hear, they should have heard, there was
Right.
a little bit of an uproar when Trish,
Yes,
the
yes,
regular
there was.
nurse,
Right.
ended up getting
Yeah,
cut. Now
exactly.
she's back
She's back.
because of a
Yep.
rearrangement of
The
staff
council on aging
duties,
did some
etc.
rearranging, exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing I will say briefly is that my work on the board, and as you mentioned, Steve, we're on advancement together as well as governance, and I find the organization itself is so thoughtful, so thorough, and so inclusive of everything that needs to be done. It just blows me away. And then, of course, there's all our events, which we all work on, whether it's Empty Bowls or the upcoming party for the pantry, and then the annual letter that will go out. I just wish that more people in town would understand it for what it is and possibly participate by donating.
Right.
Because as much as it's great to fill that purple people eater bin out back, the dollars go much further with our ability
Sure.
to buy from the Greater Boston Food Bank
Right.
and so on and so forth. But and again, I think that's a perception that hopefully is changing. So
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we do these recordings, because hopefully that gets the word out for the various events, the cause, the need.
Yep, the need.
And the
Right.
building itself, certainly once we got in here,
Right.
people had been familiar with the kind of the brown building. Edwin's, many people were here
Yeah.
for years and years and years,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden the building is white.
Yeah,
What is this?
yeah.
So
And it-
people didn't know, and
No.
all of a sudden now,
Yeah. And that's a great point, Steve, because people that go by now that are stopped at the light that may be coming into this plaza for different, they see it, they understand. And interestingly, as it turns out, I was at Big Y this morning, and who did I run into but Jean Aldrich, the wife of Mr. Edwin, if you will. And she is just a delight, and a woman who is, every time she sees me, she's so effusive with how grateful, and I'm like, you're grateful, we're grateful to you for being able to make this happen,
Right.
because this was a game changer for this food pantry.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
anyway.
and the business has been growing such and meeting the need of the growing community. We're
Right.
kind of bursting at the seams compared to we would not have survived in the other building.
That's right. Absolutely not.
No.
Yeah, you're right. So,
And Sally, your time here, any particular insights to share for others to, consider, take the chance, find out.
Yes, take the chance, find out. I want to kind of build a little bit on what Carol said as far as from the top down, the respect for the volunteers and the respect for the community is just incredible here.
Right.
So as a volunteer, it's just an incredible group of people to work with. You're incredibly supported, and I couldn't recommend it enough. And the respect for our clients is just tremendous as well. It's very awe-inspiring, and I think that's very heartwarming, and that really needs to be mentioned, and it's a beautiful thing to work with. For myself, I kind of like doing a lot of different positions. I like learning a lot. So I'm either on the floor with the clients, trying to continue to maintain that kind of respect, and honoring that and honoring the clients that we have, as well as I, often work in the back and stocking and working in, kind of backroom positions. One of the other things that I think is very impressive about the food pantry is their commitment to community, not just in providing food for people of need, but they've also opened their doors to, there's classrooms at the high school that come in for kind of a work program, students with disabilities, either in a group setting. There's also some individual opportunities for students with disabilities. So they really think about the community as a whole. I mean, I didn't know what you're talking about, like doing the blood pressures and everything. It's very integrated, and I'm very impressed with that and honored to be a part of that.
Because there's a lot happening.
There's a lot happening.
Kim, from your experience, what else would you add in terms of kind of an enticement to have somebody check it out, try it?
Well, I think for me, the most important thing that I see, I work primarily at the front desk. So I'm working with clients, checking them in for the day, make sure they make their next appointment so that they know when they're going to come back for the next shop, tell them any important information going on, and send them on their way. And I will say, I have clients walk in, and when they walk in, I say, "Hi, so-and-so."
Yes.
And I have them look at me and say, "You remembered my name?"
Wow.
And they can't believe it. They are astounded. And I say, "Of course I remembered your name." And I work maybe 3 times a month. So sometimes it's on a Friday, some on a Tuesday, and some on a Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm not always here at the same time every week. So I feel like, you see somebody and maybe you don't see them for 2 months and you come back and you see them again. The rapport that I think everybody here develops with the client is exceptional, and they feel it and they appreciate it. And I do feel like working at front desk, it's their first introduction to the pantry as they come in the door. We have the greeter, which is a great role now, and then front desk.
Right.
And I feel like when you're trying to make appointments with people, you find out a lot about what they have going on in that moment.
The schedule.
Exactly. And it's, I can't come next week. I have a doctor's appointment. I'm struggling with this, or my son is struggling with it. And just the compassion and the empathy, you just go back and forth. And a lot of times it's like, okay, we do have people trying to get through, but you want to keep talking with them and engage, because they're just so happy to be able to share, and I think a very safe place. So for me, that is what makes me the happiest when I'm here, is that I can engage in those types of communications with the clients.
Definitely. Good. Thank you for that. Carol?
So I've
Not
been
to leave you out. You're the last of the round, but
well, if you could
we're
see
still
me,
going.
I'm shaking my head and nodding at what everyone is saying, because everything that I've heard is I see how just the transition from the old building to this building, how much there has been a change, and with all the people that have helped make decisions about the changes, I am just amazed at how seamless the transition went, and seeing the growth has been amazing. I feel fortunate that I can work behind the scenes. I do produce stocking and stocking, which I very much enjoy.
That's good.
I discovered about myself that I enjoy breaking down boxes.
And you do
get a little aggression in there,
I actually do. So I very much enjoy that part of the job.
We save boxes that we can't quite get.
And she'll get
Carol's
us.
coming, so we'll put it over there. That's true.
I'm the box crusher.
An extra talent.
I have also, though, really enjoyed being able to take on the role of client lead, which, again, hearing what Kim has said, I have the privilege to get to know a lot of the clients, and they do remember you, and they feel valued, I think, when you do remember them.
Right.
I do see that there are many brave people that do enter the building. I have come across one person recently that said, I saw the building. I'm driving down 140. I saw it as a sign. She was in transition. She, was hoping to get a new job, and so she said, "This is a sign." So she parked her car and walked in, and you can tell that it takes a lot of courage.
Yeah. As much as we've done over the years, The building certainly helps. Relationships at the senior center certainly help, but that stigma, that hurdle, that first step, once they've done that, I think everybody else here, as you mentioned, they get that comfort.
Yeah.
But it's that
Absolutely.
fear,
First step.
uncertainty, and doubt
Yeah.
to get there that first time.
Yes. And I think to that point, Steve, they are so generous, and I'm sure that everyone at this table sees that. I don't want to take it if somebody else could use it
Right.
more than I could.
Yeah.
No one is selfish, and no one is here without need.
Right.
You know, I've been told by other people, oh, I think they must just come because you don't require this and you don't require that. And I said, nobody lines up to come to the food pantry unless it's part of what they need to do.
Sure.
And hopefully it's temporary.
Right. Yeah.
I also have the role as client lead, and we do help, sign people up, enroll them. And I can't tell you, it is so emotional, and they do not want to be here. And they walk in, and we try and make
That's
it as
right.
welcoming as we can.
Sure.
And I'll always say, you know what, everybody needs a little bit of help at some point
time.
or another.
Right.
And this is your time. So when you're done needing help, then you can help other people
right.
that need help.
Yep.
Sure.
And just try to let them see that,
Yeah.
we kind of take what we need, and then we give when we can.
And it must start there, because when I've done client-facing roles, having been received like that, I have not really seen any client walk through the door whose head isn't held up high and smiling and saying, greeting and engaging with you about the food products and, making eye contact. So it's obvious that right from the beginning, when you guys begin working with them, that the respect and the dignity that everyone here, believes in is definitely given to them.
And the respect and the dignity of this building alone, and yet when we were at the other smaller building, that respect was still there.
Very much.
I mean, it was still there, but now it's as though they'd be in a regular grocery store.
Exactly.
There's always that
Absolutely.
story you hear of a mother who brings a child with her to shop, and it's as though they're in a grocery store. And how great is that for that child to see that? That's a story that always tugs at my heart to think, wow, this is really great. And that's why we needed the financial stability and the ability to grow this organization the way that we have, because it was needed. I mean, that other building was so tiny. I don't know how people did it.
How
in
did
and out of the
it?
basement.
How did it happen?
How did it?
Well, there were some
So-
bumps and
Well,
bruises,
there were a
specifically in
few
the
bumps and
basement.
bruises, that's for sure. But
The basement was,
It was just...
yeah.
it was
I mean,
hard.
the sliding of the boxes down a plywood plank. That's just,
we used the table at one point,
yes,
so.
I remember that.
For sure.
But it is a real beautiful thing to see this building
Yes.
and see people come in.
Yeah.
And the cleanliness, to your point, and everyone's point of the respect of the clients. The cleanliness of this building is outstanding. It really is. Anyway, and the
Yes.
stocking and the rotation of the stock and the way the stock is lined up
Right.
and the beautiful vegetables and all of it.
Right.
It's just
And I think
amazing.
what we're really saying is there's a lot of love here.
Right.
I never turn down a hug. I know people want to hug Kim. This is just a welcome feeling.
Sure.
And if they don't have that, they really leave quickly.
Right.
And I think it's a lovely thing, as Roberta's pointing out, that there were people that didn't want to come. It's very hard to
Yes.
come.
Yes.
And that it's getting a little bit easier. I won't say it's easy. But I think when you say those words and you embrace them, either not physically but just with words,
Right.
they're like, great. They lower their shoulders.
I've heard from others, including my wife, where, somebody that first time especially, they're new,
Oh,
they're fearful, they're
so
not
hot.
sure, and then they get welcomed. And then when she sees them by the time they're leaving,
Yep.
That's
they've
right.
got the smile on the face. Maybe not all the worries are gone yet, but
Yeah, but
they've got a little bit of relief. There's a little,
and a little bit of dignity that's been given to them.
yeah.
And Roberta and I can attest to the people that you really had to convince them to come to the food pantry at the senior center. They were like, no, I just come and do cards or I played pool.
Uh-huh.
Well, you might want to check it out
Right.
because you don't have to sign in or
Just
out.
come and take some
you can just
things.
come.
Right.
And I do love the hugs.
Yeah.
Keeps me coming back.
I was helping a client out to her car, helping her push. It was a grandma. And we get to the car and we get everything in the car. And she said, "Can Grammy give you a hug?" I said,
Aw.
"Grammy can absolutely give you a hug."
Absolutely.
So sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that does put the exclamation point on what we do, is that's how they're feeling.
Right.
Yes.
You might have not guessed that until that sentence is said.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
so
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I have to just say this to all the people at this table, the gratitude that I am able to hear from the clients in the roles that I have really has to be shared with everyone.
Because they don't have an opportunity to come
They
generally,
don't,
and
and
yet
they are just so grateful.
you're that vehicle for them
We are
to
called
get.
angels, we are called gifts, we are called all those words that make it so worthwhile. And they really can't come. And so that's what that program does. But even I would suggest at the senior center, please pass it on. That I'm so grateful.
Sure.
And that's the part that we want to get. Keep it going with the money raising and
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, because there's no such thing as a free lunch. Granted, the clients walk out with the free lunch, meal, package,
Right.
sometimes some goodies as well.
You have to provide for it.
Yeah, either through the donations physically to the Purple People Eat It feeder, Amazon wish list, but to the point earlier, financially allows the flexibility, and we've done other audios where that financial dollar can be used at the moment to fill in the gap, whether some of our other suppliers, sources, just don't have, whether it's the cereal or the potatoes or the
Precisely,
coffee or
yeah.
whatever it is, because that's where the wish list or the current needs list evolves periodically anyway.
And sometimes when we have an extra item to offer, such as butter, people become, what? Are you offering me butter? Yep, we'll check that off on the menu for you. And a lot of people are going through treatments that change their appetites. And so it's very, very often that people who are in certain kinds of therapy look forward to a snack. So if we have pastries or we can offer tabletop pie, it's such a treasure. And if you could all hear just that gratitude for that one item because they can't get out to get it.
Right.
And if we can deliver it, it's a great celebration.
Definitely.
Yeah.
One of the recent podcasts we did was on a grant that we now have where there's a dietitian developing, enhancing some dietary programs to that point where whether it's particular treatments, you need this or that, less salt, less whatever, and incorporating other aspects. I mean, because, two heads are better than one, 5 heads are better than two.
For sure. And the pantry just put together a package, if you will, bags being packed that have a recipe on the front. And we give all the ingredients and they can just enjoy that instruction and not worry about how do I make this.
And learning to use other things that they might not have
get on a
considered,
regular
whether it
basis.
be beans or some other type of vegetable or some recipes you just suggested that they can put together that they hadn't considered.
Yeah.
I find that comes up a lot in the spring. We have the community gardens and the produce that is brought in. You could not believe how much, and the clients can't believe it either.
Right.
And oftentimes we do have recipes that go along with, say it's leeks, and they've never used leeks before, so they know how to incorporate that into their.
Exactly.
The first time I saw kohlrabi, it was like, what is this?
that?
But it's good once you know how to prepare it. But taking those other details, taking that next step. It's not just here, take it.
And their commitment to nutrient-dense foods, which to me
Right.
just speaks volumes. You know, this isn't just about giving out what you've got. It's about making sure that the food is what they need and that it's nutrient-dense. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
I mean, even year-round, the produce
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, it is.
great.
And varied.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
not like just we've got a bunch of potatoes.
Right. Exactly.
That's right.
You know?
You're right.
It's varied. Pineapples, okra,
Yeah.
you know, as well as tomatoes and
Yeah.
potatoes.
Yeah. Of course.
And this week we had avocados.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's like,
Oh,
what?
wow. Who has
Avocados are
those?
actually, I'm
We had
surprised how often we
avocados,
have avocados.
cucumbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when you're announcing that and the people react, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
It is.
And it's done with a lot of effort and thinking by
Well,
all those
and-
angels that are out there.
And patience too, because you're putting that produce out, right?
Right, right.
You're taking your time to make it
I
look.
feel like we've been trained well. I do have to give a lot of credit to the staff here because I feel like they really trusted us to take what they are telling us to do and we're able to do it. So I have high esteem for the staff here.
Yes.
Nice.
And I think also maybe to what you're alluding to, Steve, is that in Carol's job, all the produce needs to be reviewed before every shopping,
Right.
day.
Right.
We don't put out anything that's bad.
Sure.
Review freshness.
So it's
and
everything
all
is reviewed for expiration date, for freshness, and that again speaks to the food pantry's commitment to the clients. Is they are providing them with a quality shopping experience in every way, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
Oh, good. Anything else to add? I think we've covered a bunch of aspects, and for the record at least, Food Pantry, franklinfoodpantry.org is the one URL. There are links there to either give or to obtain, to get, and a variety of links you can follow within that. Volunteer, of course, volunteer time. Get into the next volunteer training session, as was mentioned, so you get exposed, you get that awareness. Clearly, I think you've all referenced it, maybe not deliberately saying, but in dealing with the clients, dealing with them certainly with respect, knowing their names, remembering their names, but we didn't mention any names.
No.
We're not talking about that. That
No.
conversation doesn't happen
Nope.
to keep that client
Never does.
confidentiality forefront.
Uppermost.
Right.
And I think that's a very important point. They know each other. There is a community that really does know each other, and they help each other. There is one woman in one of the communities that actually makes dinners
For others.
everybody.
Yeah.
And it's mentioned often when they pick up a product. Oh, so and so is going to add that
this
to the
to her or
meal
whatever.
this week.
Yeah.
How
Okay.
cool is that? So,
Yeah.
but privacy is very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to bring up, obviously I moved away from Franklin, but I keep coming back, and I will say I was always so proud to live in this town because of how much support the town gives the pantry.
Sure.
I know my daughter was one of the food elves at Christmas,
Yes.
and we
Yes.
did all these
That's one of
different
the annual
things.
programs,
But
yep.
it's just an amazing place to be. I just felt the support, and I think the clients feel the support too from this amazing community.
Right. Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. It takes a village.
Yes, it does take a village, no matter what,
Yeah.
in all aspects.
600 people are in the village.
Yeah, for sure.
And we could always use more
Yeah.
people, skills, talents, resources, dollars, whatever. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for spending some time to share from your experiences. I think at least, I've learned some stuff, reinforced some of what I already knew because I was kind of on the inner circle, but the regular listener probably is not in that inner circle. So hopefully they'll listen and pay attention and say, hey, maybe one of the neighbors that they know is kind of going through a struggle or whatever, maybe consider and take that chance. Walk over through that portal and get greeted by whether it's Kim or somebody else.
Yeah.
And to help us as volunteers to take away the stigma,
Yes.
to make it a much easier transition to go from losing a job to coming here and getting good, nutritious food,
Right.
and being greeted
With
happily
respect.
and
Yes.
even excitedly. We're
Yeah.
glad you're here.
Yeah. Definitely.
Right, and we talk about being greeted, and then about the program you do for those that are homebound. We also have a drive-through, and then, as you mentioned, the senior food goes to the senior to the center. I mean, there's besides just the shopping experience, there's so many other ways in which food reaches the people it needs to reach.
It's available. I think there's at least 3, if not 4 other.
There's one every month, every Wednesday of every month.
True, but in addition to the senior center, there are
that's
other
what I mean.
locations.
Sometimes there's-
Central Park Terrace, there's the Commons off of Route 140, there's the senior
Right.
center, and then there's the Central Park Terrace.
Right.
So there are 4. Every Wednesday of every month has
Right.
one. Yeah.
Yep.
And the backpack program.
I was just
Yeah.
going to say,
Yeah.
we get
Right.
backpacks.
Coordination with the
Backpacks.
schools.
Coordination with the schools, exactly.
And I know that's also been a discussion because after Tina had presented to the school committee,
Yeah.
there was discussion that effectively from elementary age to middle school to high school, there's a significant drop-off in participation.
Right.
Why? We really don't know yet. We can surmise,
Yes, we can.
but we'd rather not.
Even though it's done confidentially with the utmost of care and respect, yes, one would want
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Yes.
And great effort is given to what is in the backpack so that it matches everybody's snack at the table.
Exactly.
We have thinkers that do all that, and it's wonderful. A volunteer was actually behind 2 kids in the school, and one said to the other, "Did you see that we got such and such in the bag today?" Not feeling the stigma there,
Right. Right.
talking to each other about what snack they had. And this person sought me out to tell me the story,
Sure.
and I was like,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes.
You know, that's just so terrific.
Yeah. Good. Well, thank you again for doing this, for taking
Thank you,
time.
Steve.
Thank you for all the work you do. And to the listeners, thank you for listening. Spread the word. Food Pantry you can help or help you. Don't be bashful. And a quick reminder, we do this because Franklin matters. We are now producing this in collaboration with Franklin TV and Franklin Public Radio. This podcast is my public service effort for Franklin, but we can't do it alone. We can always use your help. How can you help? If you can use the information that you find here, please tell your friends and neighbors. If you don't like something here, please let me know. Through this feedback loop, we can continue to make improvements. And I thank you for listening. For additional information, please visit franklinmatters.org. If you have questions or comments, you can reach me directly at suresteve@gmail.com. The music for the intro and exit was provided by Michael Clark and the group East of Shirley. The piece is titled Ernesto Mañana, copyright Michael Clark and Tin Type Tunes in 2008, and used with their permission. I hope you enjoy. By the way, you can also subscribe and listen to Franklin Matters Radio on your favorite podcast app. Search in podcasts for Franklin Matters.